Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Solstice Festival webinar of the 2025 initiative. My name is Alexander, and I welcome you in our circle today. Thank you for joining us. And today's webinar follows the 4-beat cycle of our planet of solstices and equinoxes. And today we align with our planetary movement around the sun. And we welcome the planetary system group who will lead our webinar today. And I invite Antonella to lead us in alignment. Ciao, Antonella.
Ciao, Alex. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Yeah. So let's start because there are many seeds to sow tonight. Okay. May I share my screen?
Yes, I will make you a presenter right now.
Thank you.
Technology doesn't cooperate right away. Play.
Always powerful energies.
Yes.
And contrast during solstices and equinoxes.
Antonella, you are an organizer now, so you probably can make yourself a presenter.
Okay.
If you have to go to, yes, now you should be able to do that.
Okay. So you can see now?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, let's do short alignment. Let's unite in spirit of oneness in this solemn moment. At each solstice, the highest and the lowest unite, and each process inscribed in the annual breath of the planet reverses the direction of its motion, according to the spatial and symmetrical law of alternation, the essential polarity of life. The forms, now conceived, mature in the depth and set off to their conclusions. The spirit that inhabits them begins its own liberation. So in this pure verticality, we could say, of this moment, the exact halfway of the annual cycle, let's begin our work. So this June Solstice webinar is dedicated, as usually, to an astrological overview of the signs of the heavens, and this time also to a solemn group action aimed to impress a formulation or a thought form for a new culture and civilization. So let's begin with the heliocentric chart. The perspective of these readings, as usual, of the heavens, is both heliocentric and geocentric. We could analogically infer that the heliocentric one concerns mainly the disciple humanity, already able, more or less, to be at the center, as if he was the sun soul, whilst the geocentric one is more concerned with concerning the aspirant humanity. So the causal energies are transmitted through the mental plane by the zodiacal wheel of the 12 signs, as we know, the 12 archetypes of the evolution of consciousness. So let's look at the causal chart of this 2019 June solstice. So at each solstice, the disciple humanity, I can use also maybe this. Okay. At each solstice, the disciple humanity, which is the Earth here, the Earth in astrological terms, third ray personality, second ray soul, first ray monad, reaches the initiatory threshold of the door of the gods, guarded by the sign of Capricorn, the source for the first, third, and the seventh rays. So at June solstice, the Earth humanity faces the summit from the center. And the center is ruled by the Sun Vulcan, second and first ray, analogically the soul and the real government of the planet. From the perspective of the Earth in Capricorn, the apparent Sun then is the vector for planetary consciousness of the energies of the opposite sign, Cancer. Third and seventh rays, the valley of dark light, the gate of man. So the impulse of the June solstice mirrors and equalizes the original one of December solstice and celebrates its formal triumph, the descent into the flesh in the following 6 months. The sense of vigil and wait for the fateful date of 2020 consolidates now and guides the vision of the servers of the world in the right direction. In 2020, if we remind, as pointed out several times in these readings, we will have the deflagrating and rarest conjunction between the solar planet Saturn, third ray, here he is. I don't know if you see my mouse, probably not.
Yes, so, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay, so I don't, thank you, Alexander. Between the solar planet Saturn, third ray, and the destroyer for evolution, Pluto, first ray, exactly in January 2020 in Capricorn, and just igniting the new group of world servers week of impact of December 2019. This is an extremely definitive and propulsive alignment that will give a powerful acceleration to the process of initiation of the human group, fixing, as it occurs in an Earth sign, their previous alignment in Aquarius in late 18th century, which saw, as we said many times, both the American War of Independence and the French Revolution, liberté, égalité, fraternité. So at a higher planetary level now, we can expect or invoke evolution rather than revolution, an evolution towards liberty in government, politics, first ray, towards equality in economics, third ray, égalité, and towards fraternity in human relationships or the education field, second ray. So this conjunction between the will aspect of the third ray, which is Saturn, we could call Saturn as a free one, and the symmetrical mental aspect of the first ray, Pluto, a one free, will clear the field for the long-awaited conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, the main builders of the solar plane of love, Jupiter, and light, Saturn. Heliocentrically will be in November 2020 and is the first reconjunction since the beginning of the 15th century. So this sign will be a decisive step for the entry of human consciousness into the new era and the new Aquarian culture on Earth. So this year, 2019, the Earth, trained by the wise and benevolent Jupiter in Sagittarius, here he is, the novice disciple Earth, humanity, will meet these two highest solar examiner, Saturn and Pluto, exactly between the 9th and the 14th of July. Just sign these dates just not to lose the dates, as Agni Yoga says, because are true opportunities to resonate with the causes of the heavens and serve them consciously. So this conjunction between the Earth and the examiner Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn is with Saturn, the second of the three conjunction in this sign Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, we know, since Saturn entered on December 2017. So it's the second time that the Earth will be in alignment with Saturn in Capricorn, and is the 11th conjunction of the, or 15th conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn since 2008, when Pluto entered Capricorn. So here we know that we can say that Saturn and Pluto, at all costs, they command redemption, regeneration, and renewal. We can testify this all around the planet and inside us as individuals, groups, and nations. Synthesizing into a formula, we could say of these crucial meetings along the initiatory axis Cancer Capricorn that to ascend you must leave all weights on the ground on Earth. So let's have a look also to the other deep planets, Neptune and Uranus. So the teaching about the distant worlds and goals received by the master Jupiter in Sagittarius is interwoven with the need to bring salvation to the prisoners of the planet. This square, the red line between Jupiter in Sagittarius and Neptune. Neptune's sixth ray of abstract idealism and devotion, the god of waters, and veiling the Christ as initiator of humanity, which is in Pisces until 2025, exactly. So divine dispassion or compassion is the energy needed to inspire the vision of the new order of love. And a favorable day to receive inspiration in this sense will be when the Sun-Earth axis, soul personality, Sun-Earth, of the disciple humanity, joins Neptune, the solar Christ, in their annual appointment. And this year will be on the 10th September and will be the 8th conjunction in Pisces since 2011. Note this date too, to celebrate it in our one heart each year in Pisces till 2024. Okay, then we have the initiator Uranus here, seventh ray of ceremonial order and magic in Taurus, which transmits the fourth ray, the pure fourth ray. Since the last year is in Taurus till 2025, another deadline, precise deadline. Now is in a beautiful trine, the blue line, to our Earth, which is his wife actually, Gaia, supporting the disciple humanity in this state of consciousness transition, thanks also to the tension, the opposition to his minor octave, here it is, Mercury, the fourth ray of harmony through conflict, the magician who thinks and expresses the celestial order of Uranus through beauty in form. So for more details, you can check this reading on the free blogs of TBS in English, French, and Italian. So thus, ascension to the summit and vice versa, the reconstruction in the valley seem to be the dominant themes more than ever of this June solstice in support to the evolving human consciousness called to transform a new dose of supernal light into a wise service to the valley. Okay, and now let's see just quickly the geocentric view. So what stands out in this configuration again is the zodiacal axis Cancer Capricorn, of course, not only because it rules the solstice impulse, the sun-earth direction, but also for the multi-opposition between Saturn and Pluto at the southern lunar node on one side, and Mercury and Mars at the north lunar node on the other. We could say that from what is crystallized and no longer compliant, Capricorn, it is necessary to move to a new phase characterized by a more responsive and dynamic sensitivity, Cancer, capable of spreading the saving force, the aspects to Neptune, here they are, the trines, ruler of Pisces, Neptune also Pisces, but ruler of Cancer, and to nurture the new evolutionary rhythms, aspects to Uranus, here, the red line, in Taurus, and to Jupiter, here, the quincunx, in Sagittarius, and so on. So the picture is completed by the aspects to the Moon, here, esoteric ruler of Cancer, exoteric ruler of Cancer, and the mother of four, in its hierarchical field Aquarius, fifth ray, as a reservoir of water of life for the group consciousness at the service of the spirit, the common good, the infinite heaven. So, as often mentioned, this planetary solar direction of the solstices consecrated to the initiatory axis Capricorn Cancer points to the galactic center every 13,000 years. So we are really in the moment of beginning. Among the stars, this galactic center we know is among the stars of the Archer, Sagittarius on one side, and the two, let's see here, and the two origins, Sirius and Orion, on the other side, among the stars of the twins, Gemini. So Sirius and Orion, the celestial Isis and Osiris, or Osiris. By the way, today we have the exact alignment, today, the 20th of June, the exact alignment on the common solar plane of the ecliptic between the projections of our polar star and of Betelgeuse, the great red giant of Orion, and the great mother of the cosmic Christ, ruling the heart of disciples according to decay. So it's a great day, one of the greatest of the year, probably. So this is the picture we always show in our solstice webinar because it's so evocative. This is the rightest direction for throwing a powerful arrow from our united hearts. Let us not forget that the energies of Sirius, our cosmic Christ, local cosmic Christ, and the Son of the Suns, the star of initiation through the increasing of sensitivity, are just expressed through Capricorn and Cancer and their fifth creative hierarchy, through Saturn, enabling the aspirant to tread the path of purification or probation, quote. It is said that, quote, these energies focus and qualify the energy of the great lodge of the Most High in that distant sun, Sirius. They pour through the hierarchy upon the mass of men and enable the unit in that mass to isolate himself and turn his back upon the past and find his way on to that section of the path wherein he learns to feel. And even more now, each time that our Earth intersects the presence of both Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So again, date of 9 and 14 of July are very, very propitious to learn to feel. So the current solstices axis is therefore the very cosmic direction which rightly orientates our heart sensitivity towards the supernal light of the distant worlds and hearts, solar, cosmic, and galactic, towards the subtler and fiery realities of our being and existing. So also worthy of note in this quarter cycle between the solstice, June solstice, and the equinox of September is the total eclipse of the sun at the new moon of Cancer on the 2nd of July 2019, just near again the star Sirius. So the alignment between these cosmic and solar fires, Sirius and Sun Vulcan in Cancer ruled by the moon, and Earth, Moon, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn ruled by Saturn. So this alignment accentuates the importance of this sign of heaven. We could infer that a new Christic seed is introduced into the matrix of human sensitivity, drawing it towards its cosmic origin and destiny. A new Christic seed on the 2nd of July. And a first germination of this seed will be at the time of the next full moon of Cancer on July 16, when we will have the partial eclipse of the moon. And a completion of this germination of this seed, the Christic seed, we can think that will be at the symmetrical time of the annular eclipse of the sun at the new moon of Capricorn of December 26, 2019. So we have also this alignment between moon, which is the lunar Petris analogically, the earth, which is personality or the disciple of humanity, and sun, which is the soul, Sirius, which is the monad in a way, or the Christic source of Buddhi and manas together. So such powerful dates, these are such powerful dates and very beneficial signs for the human initiatory field, fertilized by the hierarchy, our planetary Sirius, through the new group of world servers, particularly during the 7-year group impact week from 21st to 28th of December, when our common work and potency of service can be enhanced by the Capricornian influences, augmented by the pouring in of forces from a still greater constellation. By the way, these pictures are a beautiful picture by Francis Donner, one of our co-workers and friends. So gratitude. And yeah. So now, facing this solstice energy portal, solemnly opening to a new world, let us open the second section of this group event, dedicated to sow and saturate space with some causal formulas for a new culture and civilization, which is in essence the manifestation and realization of the hierarchical plan on Earth. And culture is, in the words of Nicholas Roerich, is the veneration of light, is the love of humanity, is the scent, the unity of life and beauty. Culture is the synthesis of edifying and sensitive results, is the armor of light, is salvation, is the driving force, is the heart. The new culture and civilization has been put as the fifth main goal of the formulation of the hierarchical plan, inspired to the seven rays model, which has been presented in the previous solstice webinars, and that you can find on TPS in the document asserting the planetary plan, mainly. Okay, these are some correspondences, possible correspondences of this seven rays model. And this is the table of the plan. Let's do a bit. Okay. So it's the system of 49 goals of the plan with the fifth cross highlighted. And in the group life embodiment of this thought form or formulation of the plan started in 1987, the 2019 is exactly the fifth year of the fifth septennium of the current first cycle of 49 years. So the goal 5-5, new culture and civilization. And let us remember what are culture and civilization for master decay. The masses are negative to the plane of desire and of feeling, and the civilization of any age is largely the exteriorization of that particular level of consciousness. The intelligentsia are positive, and their positive mental orientation produces the culture of their time, or their race, or their community. We have, therefore, in the human family, masses, negative, responsive to the desired civilization, intellectuals, positive, responsive to mind, culture. In this, you have the two poles which distinguish the race, and it is through the interplay between these two that human activity, progress, and development is generated and carried forward. And the production of the culture of any given period is simply the reflection of the creative ability and the precise consciousness of the initiates of the time. So as part of the new group of world servers, let us focus on the higher mental plane as if, in order to help and offer a fiery basis for the creative ability and the precise consciousness of the initiates. Here is a possible 49 formulas for a new culture and civilization. We will assert together a system of formulas, a Pythagorean lambdoma. Also, this is explained in the pages of TPS, which is a lambdoma, this table of 7x7 matrix concerning. So this system of formulas concerns the possible 7 ray sectors of human activity of the new culture and civilization, an integrated thought form to be nourished and sown by our creative imagination and precise visualization. So these 7 possible directions of the new human culture and civilization are here listed at the top of each of the 7 columns: government, education, economy, art, science, communication, organization. We could put also other names, but just use this for now. Another pick by Francis. So we, as part of the new group of world servers, elaborated by putting a lambdoma on. So we, the new group of world part of the new group of world servers, in essence, the 4th human hierarchy, will progressively learn and go through this higher art of composing the causes of the future in order to fix the new Aquarian prototypes. So this causal lambdoma of 7 times 7 ideal formulas will be presented by some ray functionaries, or what we call vertices, of an international prototype for a planetary order prototype, which we call, in a funny way, POP. Each of us has chosen each of us is already part of different groups, but has chosen one of the 49 vortices of this fiery model of life and group consciousness based on the science of sound, harmonics from Pythagoras, by Pythagoras. So, okay, let's start. 7 people will present this, and we can start from the first sector, government and politics. So Ornella 1-4 will present some thoughts about that.
Yes, hello. I present the new planetary government. I start this celebration in the name of the first ray line to irradiate the energy of the government. Governing is a sacred act whose purpose is freedom, which is the greatest common good. From this affirmation derives the truth that the more one is free, the more he governs. And since the process of liberation is the path of the evolution of consciousness, it is evident that the management of this decisive activity should be entrusted to the most advanced people that, by forgetting themselves, accept to stand in the middle, in the place of fire, at the point of the greatest sacrifice. The real government is planetary, solar, cosmic. It is one, just as one is the purpose that holds the whole universe, as the polar star of all the polar stars, and branches off in a hierarchical way, saturating every level of consciousness, without ever losing its unity. Let us try to fix the features that define the foundations and the terms of comparison on which a governing body could be established in the future culture civilization. First, freedom, the only law of the universe and supreme common good, must be conquered by giving one's own. Does it govern itself? Second, the centers, where people learn to govern, are infinite and are one. They radiate freedom in space, educating it. Third, the conquest of freedom is a creative action and must be planned. It proceeds in a progressive, rhythmic, and orderly manner. Purpose, plan, and project are the trinity of governance. Fourth, freedom comes from heaven, whose lights are sources of government. The rules of heaven are as clear as elusive. The art of governing is expressed in imitation. Fifth, every spark of freedom governs, and therefore frees. The government proceeds from the high and is exercised according to the cosmic right which unifies heaven and earth. Sixth, governing is a religious action and produces communion. The rhythm unifies the many and multiplies the single. It is the base of all understandings and cancels the borders. Seventh, governing establishes a hierarchy that rises towards the unitary and pyramidal summit. Light, the great liberator, radiates from the summit. I found some meaningful words on the Agni Yoga test hierarchy. Certainly, when the spirit is accustomed to respond in service, in conformity with higher predestinations, the link of the spirit with the higher will is established. Hence, one should apply one's striving to perception of the higher will. Only thus can a hierarch serve our task. Verily, adoption and fulfillment are the valor of a hierarch. Therefore, I affirm that the power of creativeness is the blending of consciousness. Thus, we create the predestined future. I affirm it. Let me conclude with the radiation of the first sector formulas of the Landoma. First, being a source of freedom. Second, guiding toward the common good. Third, directing to the solar plan. Fourth, adhering to the model of the real government. Fifth, governing according to hierarchical principles. Sixth, asserting the unity of government. 7. Liberating through order.
And now Francis 2-4.
Okay, hello everyone. The second column of the Landoma lists the education formulas of the new culture and civilization. But rather than being a knowledge gathering function, the focus of these formulas is to use the law of attraction to transform knowledge into wisdom through love. Said another way, it reveals the education of consciousness, the second aspect. The informing principle of these 7 formulas is the 1.2 vertex, loving infinity, reminding us that God is love and that the vibration of love is what makes the expansion or education of consciousness possible. It is the root energy of becoming, and only through it can the other 6 formulas function. We live in a second-ray solar system. Its governing law, the law of attraction, makes possible our essential unity. Through it and the law of radiation, we draw to and through ourselves all that we need to become consciously aware of the ray ashram to which we belong. In that achieved unity and through our field of service, our heart-mind attracts the wisdom of heaven, the 2.2 formula. This is a function of the intuition, which turns knowledge into wisdom and thus reveals the next phase of consciousness, of service, and of revelation of divinity. Through every individual spiritual breakthrough, our essential unity asserts itself, and another victory over the illusion of separation is made. This is the power of love working from within, without. Initially, this influence creates a heated conflict with the personality, but eventually, love's influence is recognized, then accepted, then aligned with, until the personality becomes a vehicle for love in action, in service of an ever-expanding collective consciousness, the formula for Vertex 3.2. Through the revelations of the wisdom of heaven, we begin to comprehend the centrality of the heart, the formula of the 4.2 vertex. This comprehension is long in coming. For first, we must spend lifetimes expressing ourselves through our lower chakras until, through the conflicts thus engaged in, we move from an emotional polarity centered in the solar plexus into the intelligence of the heart. This is an essential victory in consciousness, for it moves us, as the Gayatri tells us, from darkness to light, from the unreal to the real, and from death to immortality. The Noble Eightfold Path, which includes right understanding and intention, right speech, action, and livelihood, and right effort, mindfulness, and concentration, are all based on rightness, which is an outer demonstration of inner goodness. The formula for this optimal relationship with all those we come in contact with can be expressed through the golden proportion, described as the ideal moderating position between any two extremes, and is thus the formula for vertex 5.2. This proportion is naturally expressed by the number 5 and the pentagram, which we're told flashes above the head of the acolyte at the time of his or her initiation. Educating consciousness happens through nourishment because of its essential selflessness and because it is inherently an agent of the soul. The heart nourishes all within its environment. In group work, which is the natural province of the heart, it teaches and demonstrates through example the fact of our essential unity. Thus, it nourishes the ideal of one humanity, the formula for the 6.2 vertex. Space supports the self and the infinite aggregates of selves, for it is the mother of all. Mastery of space, the formula for vertex 7.2, is peculiarly contingent on awareness of the fact that there is no space. That is to say, 3D spatial existence is a function of our Mayavic physicality, but does not govern our essential selves. Thus, mastering space as the source of our being is the very nature of the path of return. So I'll finish by just reading the formulas from 1.2 down through 7.2, and you can see in them the descent of the potency of the power of love. So 1.2, loving infinity, attracting to the wisdom of heaven, expanding collective consciousness, comprehending the centrality of the heart, educating toward the golden proportion, nourishing the ideal of one humanity, teaching the mastery of space. Thank you.
And now Jocelyn, 3-7.
Hello, everyone. Now we are addressing the third cross of the lambdoma, which is the third ray cross. So the third ray complements the energies of ray 1 and 2, which are directed, as we've seen, towards government and education, by focusing its energy on the economy. Antonella, could you please show the lambdoma?
Sure.
Thank you. Your system wants to update, or is it mine?
Now? Can you see?
Sorry.
Okay.
All right. So the third ray contributes to the new culture and civilization through its cross, whose arm points toward the third field of activity, which is the plan. And its heart at the vertex 3-3 affirms that the primary goal is for this formula is designing of the planetary economy. So if we look at the vertical axis, we can see how the vertices descend from 1.3 to 7.3, driven by three very key words that describe very well the capability of the third ray in fostering the new culture and civilization. So those three activities are illuminating, planning, and innovating. So we see here the third ray's light of intelligence, its patterns for planning, and its great creativity. The principal focus, as I mentioned, is the economy. So we'll now look at each vertex, which will describe how each ray is combining with the third ray to qualify it further and to give it more power and more comprehensiveness in achieving the goals. So the first 1-3 is illuminating the evolutionary goals. So here we see the blending of will and light to illumine the evolutionary goals. Illuminated by creative intelligence, the will to evolve is focused on the goals that foster the emergence of the new culture and civilization. Next, 2.3, orienting the matrix to the primary objectives. Here, the second ray lends its loving quality to intelligence of the third ray to exert a magnetic pull that orients the vortices of energy toward the objectives for the new culture and civilization. The heart of the third ray cross is vertex 3.3, designing the planetary economy. In alignment with time, cycles, and phases, the plan conforms to the parameters that are governed by the law of economy. The Illumined Plan reveals the pattern that shapes and substands the new planetary economy. Next, we see the influence of the fourth ray, the harmonizing ray. The affirmation is defining harmonic parameters between kingdoms. The light of harmony reveals the parameters for right relations among kingdoms, and we as humanity take our stand within the community of planetary lives. 5.3, planning the fair use of resources. As we know, the third ray is very much involved with resources, the enablements that allow the creativity of the third ray to externalize form. So we grasp the principles governing the rightful harvesting and distribution of resources, and we sow the seeds of fair use of resources into human minds. 6.3, managing the common abode. We create and nurture ideas that foster cohesion and shared purpose. We foster communion through a shared vision of the common good for our beloved planet. And at 7.3, innovating guidelines of evolutionary advancement. Creative intelligence is combined with order in order to implement innovative guidelines that direct our evolutionary advancement. Individually and collectively, we restore order on Earth. So these are the Ray 3 formulas that create the new economy and enable the new culture and civilization.
And now Ray for Mauro 4-5.
Yes, thank you. Hello. In the book Leaves of Moria's Garden, The Call, it is affirmed, art is the one vital medium of the coming culture. In light of this consideration and driven by the power of the common work, the sowing of the formulas related to the fourth energy has as its focus a reflection on art. It is no coincidence that one of the verbs that guide the irradiation of these formulas of the Landoma for a new culture, and the Landoma is a veritable network of living energy, is the verb to reflect, an apparently completely passive action which instead assumes a preliminary and accurate contemplation of the superior model and an equally accurate monitoring of the clarity and precision of the reflecting apparatus. As a matter of fact, it is possible to reflect the harmony of cosmos, the formula at the very heart of the new culture Landoma, only when the mirror or inner eye is perfectly transparent, pacified in all the contrasts and oppositions that punctuate our worldly life, which have been experienced for a long time and have caused an undaunted battle. We reflect to understand the world, but most of all, we reflect to connect the highest and the lowest in order to fulfill the Hermetic motto, as above, so below, which is the high road towards that coincidence of opposites that reveals the center, headquarter of every harmony. The conquest of the center, secret and silent, is one of the keys of the fourth ray, which is precisely the custodian of centrality and of the eternal present, able to preserve the fire of the one in its purity and to reflect it in the world of forms through the signs of beauty. We know that beauty is not a mere sentimental afflatus, nor a variable and personalistic feeling. Beauty is an exact science. It's the splendor of truth. It's the law that sustains the whole universe, that mathematical geometric structure that underlies every material construction and is revealed to our eyes as the vehicle of the glory of manifestation. Beautiful is what embodies and makes manifest the laws of harmony, what makes us think of something higher and beyond, what stands in the very middle of this world as the expression, the memory, and the model of the subtle and fiery worlds. Beautiful is what reminds us of the constitution of the universe, its order and stability, what evokes the creations of the spirit and its freedom, what obeys this order and rebuilds it in innumerable ways. Thus, beauty and harmony intertwine, not so much because the fourth energy is the ray of artists as such, but because it burns in every human being that becomes an artist of life. And in fact, the fourth hierarchy is the human one, namely the initiates. The function of an art worthy of this name is to open the door of meaning and put the spiritual world in contact with the material one, offering a teaching that has to be applied here and now, therefore transforming our lives and contributing to human evolution as a whole, placing beauty and harmony as the central foundation of the new culture. This is one of the reasons why, besides the verb to reflect, art is connected to the verb to express. That is to say, as the etymology or etymosophy of the word clarifies, to that inner action which is able to let the juice sprinkle. And the juice is the essence of things, things that through this penetrating light reveal their connection with the one, the source of all beauty. Reflecting the model and expressing its fiery essence is therefore the work and service of the fourth energy, which, on the occasion of the sowing of the principles of a new culture and civilization, acts as a pontiff, That is, it builds luminous bridges between the worlds so that spirit may deeply incarnate into substance, and the latter is transfigured by its fiery touch. Thus, life itself emerges transfigured, made beautiful and harmonic by the enthralling force of this celestial marriage. And humanity, incarnated as the interpreter of the fourth energy, will be able to walk towards the full possession and control of its spiritual nature, which means also being the planetary artist and creator of beauty. The formulas of the fourth energy in our Lambdoma are therefore like milestones placed to mark the steps that, on the middle path, lead to the one, contemplated and reflected by the loving eye of Mercury, his winged messenger. These formulas, which we will now launch, express the tension of humanity towards the higher model, in some ways unknown, and yet imitable through the golden rule. They urge us to exercise our intuition, which alone can lead to a subtle encounter with mystery. They guide man to harmonize form and idea, so that the sacredness of beauty is revealed in its fullness, and the art of living can express itself in all of its splendor. Finally, they ask us to respond to the creative impulse, the primordial sound, so that mankind itself can become a creator on the highest levels. Because, as we read in Brotherhood, each epoch of the renaissance of creative power remained as a step of achievement. Since this is widely known, why is art not applied in life? Here are the formulas. 1-4, imitating the unknown. 2-4, intuiting the divine essence of things. 3-4, responding to the creative laws of sound. 4-4, reflecting the harmony of cosmos. 5-4, expressing the art of living. 6-4, revealing the sacredness of beauty. 7-4, harmonizing form and idea. Thank you.
And now the fifth ray, Pablo, 7-5.
Hello everyone. The new planetary science. The new culture and civilization has already begun in humanity. It is already taking its first steps. Thus, our present purpose is to strengthen it, to invigorate it. For this, we use the fifth ray, science. To achieve its objectives, the science of the new culture and civilization defines its working tool, namely, to think clearly in order to create precise thought forms. Its method of action is to imitate the model of space. For this, it becomes aware that space is a living entity. In this way, and by analogy, it imitates its structures, its functions. Consequently, it pursues the same goal. The science of the new culture and civilization studies and understands the energies of space. It becomes aware of them. Methodically, it manages its energies and applies them to its objective. The science of the new culture and civilization always has in mind the thought forms it has created, so that in this way they can revitalize these mental forms, and thus these act in the mind of man. And here are the formulas. 1-5, manifesting the power of creative energy. 2-5, recognizing space as a living entity. 3-5, building the future. 4-5, proportioning by analogy. 5-5, working to build a new thought. 6-5, realizing the synthesis of knowledge. 7-5, applying the septenary order of energy. Thank you.
And the 6, Margot, 6-1.
Six one. I have the roles going down. The Weaver in Brotherhood 282. Precisely for the sake of comprehension, examples have been given of this people becoming physicians, cobblers, weavers, butchers, in order to infix better thinking through different kinds of labor. And as I studied these, I note, as I'm understanding to have them inform me, some of these seem more full than others. This one seems to be many people accepting that different labor has value. The Yogi, 4-6, Agni Yoga 161. Of course, an Agni Yoga should also be a jnani, a bhakti, and the development of his spirit makes him a Raja Yoga. This information, there's always infinite openings in any of these. This information seems to have landed in terms of knowledge in humanity. To go back to the navigator of heaven, this was great insight, Agni Yoga 419. A navigator can more easily understand the behavior of his ship by studying a model of the vessel. Looking at the image, people, in a way, come into contact with which is absent. That triggered something where in 3-6, the ideator, the only definition of an ideator is a modern urban dictionary, which is a person who creates productive ideas, a conceptualist, a person that processes and passes on their ideas and inventions to others, a solutions person, problem solver, and kind of a think tank. This seems like a role that needs to be more fulfilled. The freedom and the sovereignty of us to concentrate on being more of an ideator than has ever happened before. More of a personal autonomy. Then in 5-6, the builder of ideas. And super mundane. Words about cooperations have been uttered for many centuries, and the ideals usually came out in material possibilities. But now people have found many useful applications, and the time has come when it is necessary to think about the common good. So this seemed like we're now having more opportunity to take the applications that we're developing and focus them to the common good. And this is something that absolutely needs to happen. The last 7-6. Sorry. The last, yes, 7-6. The foreman. This as well as the ideator were actually missing from the Agni Yoga. So they're new terms, or they're terms the Agni Yoga focuses to, but maybe add on to. And why guardianship is so important here, because we're going into the world of communication where revelation happens between us, and great care needs to make sure that nothing goes, working together to make sure it's safe and nothing goes wrong. So this foreman, finding a whole company, if you will, or think tank that has taken the name of foreman. It's a complete life cycle management tool for physical and virtual services. And what it is, what it's trying to do is easily automate repetitive tasks and quickly display applications. So this turned into, as I understood, the Landoma itself informs us in new ways. And it was so exciting because this is used by CERN, research into nuclear activity, this particular four-man think tank. And it's an open source, which applies to the more open information in the economy. And then the final two references from Agni Yoga, 431. As far as making the economy is the economy of energy, economy of motion, and so that we don't waste things unnecessarily. So Agni Yoga 431. One must think in every way about the economy of energy. And Heart 315. Once psychophysiology is introduced in place of limited physiology, everyone will be able to understand just how important the economy of energy is. So that's my presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe we can read also the formulas of the new communication just to be coherent and consistent with the other. Yeah.
Do you want me to read them?
Yes, Alexander, I can't change my slides anymore. I don't know why. Now you see the plan, I think, with the 5-pointed star.
Yes, now we see Lambdoma. It's probably your computer just got frozen.
No, it's just that I changed the, I don't know, maybe I stop the visualization, then I retake. I don't know.
You might have paused it, so if you could unpause it.
Let's see. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Maybe it's the humidity of the 6 ray that sometimes.
Now we see the different slides.
Okay, here we are with the Landoma. Okay, so what Margot was talking about, I wanted to show if it doesn't frozen again. Let's see. I go to find the. Oh, let's see here.
I have it. I see it here.
Yeah, but I wanted to put the other Lambdoma about the task of the 42.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Yeah,
of the 42 vertices of this matrix that imitates the hierarchical model. So the names that Margot was naming, the ideator 3-6, the weaver 1-6, the navigator of heaven 2-6, the yogi 4-6, the builder of ideals, and the foreman. Here they are. So these are the energies that these that us are called to incarnate. It's our essential task. Yeah. Let's go back to the communicating. Yeah. So 1-6.
1-6. valuing the unifying force of truth. 2-6, connecting the hearts to the world of ideas. 3-6, transmitting the light of synthesis. 4-6, ensuring the ethical quality of exchanges. 5-6, communicating in subtle ways. 6-6, guarding the flame of truth. 7-6, unifying full diverse perspectives into an integrated system.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and now the 7, Juliana 4-7.
Well, hello everyone. The common and concordant work that the energy is expressed in the Landoma put in place to erect a new culture, find its full expression and its glory through the organizing and ordering action of the seventh energy. The purpose of this energy is to synthesize the two poles of being, spirit and matter, essence and form, placing them in relationship and producing a perfectly functioning complex. Thus, the full manifestation of the original idea is carried out in the formal world, and symmetrically, every form is ultimately transfigured back to his essence. For the seventh energy, the shining of the manifestation, as it was conceived, means obtaining the complete, orderly, and ritually functionality of every part of creation. This is both from an individual and collective planetary point of view, perfecting and sublimating the forms to such an extent that they become the perfect image of the essence enclosed in them. By spiritualizing the forms, one returns to the One not only in an ideal way, but passing through the worlds of forms, entering hands and feet in the matter. This last sector of the new culture and civilization, the synthetic one, organization, implies the coordination of all parts, the regular and rhythmic work of brotherly human beings collaborating for a common purpose. The organic entity that its form in this way is integrated around a fiery center, a heart. It is cohesive and pulsating, and it evolves and makes a thing evolve. The organizing motion drives everything to its proper place, driving a perfect and harmonic universe, guided by intelligence, arranged according to a principle of hierarchies of consciousness, aimed at the common good of and overflowing with beauty. The new culture that we wish so much has this purpose, that is, to realize the future by working together in order and harmony, turning to the maximum good that we can imagine, as well as to the maximum degree of freedom for each individual. This might be the very magical work of the seventh energy, this ability to liberate in order and to order in liberty, placing in the woman space and the heart of consciousness, the seed that will build a new civilization in accordance with the hierarchical canons, respectful of the heavenly cycle and animated by universal brotherhood. Another action of the seventh energy is its ability to irradiate, that is, the ability to use the fiery force of thought to build a future in perfect conformity with the model, in order to create worlds of good, and to irradiate the order of the new culture is precisely the final goal 7.7 of this Lambdoma, the crown of all the work that has been composing, with love and joy, the plots of the future of humanity. The formulas of the seventh energy in the Lambdoma new culture and civilization show the path of fulfillment and draw us back to the One, with the same force of Uranus, Lord of the seventh ray, the master of ceremonies and celestial rituals. Accompanied by his light and in full orderly freedom, we go back to the One and Supreme Order, the solar model of a new culture, the builder realized the heaven on earth. I close with the Lambdoma formulas of seventh energy. 1-7, ordering the vital station of the new culture. 2-7, integrating the world group of service. 3-7, giving rhythm to human action according to celestial cycle. 4-7, conforming human canons to hierarchical ones. 5-7, organizing the new planetary civilization. 6-7, guaranteeing the international brotherhood. 7-7, irradiate the order of the new culture.
Okay, gratitude to all. And let's read this wonderful vision from Exteriorization of Hierarchy. The power of the hierarchical spiritual impact focused through Christ and his working disciples will be so great that the usefulness, the practicality, and the naturalness of right human relations will become so evident that world affairs will rapidly be adjusted and the new era of goodwill and of peace on earth will be inaugurated. The new culture and the new civilization will then be possible. So I think we have 10 minutes to end at 9:30. If someone has something to say, if not, we are going in a few minutes to say the great invocation in 5 languages in the name of all of us. So this formula, let the power of Christ be the light of the new culture, could be a good symbol for all the work of this evening here in Europe at least, morning maybe in other places. And
If anyone would like to share any comments or questions, please use the function raise your hand. It's on the control panel, and we will unmute you.
the meanwhile, if the people that are going to say the stanzas of the Great Invocation unmute themselves, Melanie, Eleanor, Pablo, Juliana, and Francis. There are some questions I see, or some comments. From Frida, okay, thank you, thanks to you. From Lainey, the new group of war servers are the cause of the new civilization, not the effect. Yeah. From Joe, I'd just like to express our gratitude for this opportunity to unite and to have this sharing further unify the field. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Last chance. Okay, I think that after so many sounds, we can just sound the Great Invocation and leave the silence to the work and preparing to the meeting of tomorrow with the silent circle. So after a moment of silence, when you like, Melanie, you will begin. I just read another thank you by Barbara. Okay, thanks to you. Okay, let's center in the one heart, which is wherever and whenever. In the full joy, infinite love, and essential presence of our being.
Du point de lumière dans la pensée de Dieu, que la lumière afflue dans la pensée des hommes, que la lumière descende sur la terre. Från kärlekens punkt i Guds hjärta, låt kärlek strömma in i människornas hjärtan. Må Kristus återvända till jorden.
Desde el centro, donde la voluntad de Dios es conocida, que el propósito guíe las pequeñas voluntades de los hombres, el propósito que los maestros conocen y sirven.
Dal centro, che viene detto il genere umano, si svolga il piano di amore e di luce e possa sbarrare la porta dietro cui il male risiede.
Let light, love, and power restore the plan on earth.
Okay, thanks to everyone. And if you need some clarification on what to join the project or the planetary or the prototype, please contact on TPS. So thanks to the 2025 initiative, and yeah, always in the here and now, always and forever. Thank you, Alexander.